Alright guys, let's talk about the Marts 13.5K.
Under my feet, drunk thunder, lithium, no retreat. Sending that power to my beat.
Now, I'm back here in the back of my Tahoe, and yeah, I got new rewards. Y'all check out my rewards. Yep, love it. Anyway, what you're seeing right there is 2 alt gauge welding wire. Okay, that's double alt welding wire, and it looks like alt gauge car audio wire. So right here, the red is 2 alt gauge welding wire, and that green is alt gauge car audio wire. This is alt gauge car audio wire. Okay, this is alt gauge car audio wire. It's oversized, of course. Most car audio wire is, but this is GP Audio Diamond Edition wire. This wire will not fit in these holes. All right, these holes are sized for single alt gauge welding wire, which is what they're expecting to see. So as an example, the amp on top has standard alt gauge, what we would be used to alt gauge car audio wire sized holes. Okay, this one down below, the Marts, has a smaller hole. That is true alt gauge, which is what's going to fit in there. If you use welding wire, you're going to get true alt gauge to fit in these holes. If you're using oversized car audio style wire, you're going to be using probably a 2 gauge to fit in these. So that's a thing. Also consider that this amplifier is 7900.1. It's an 8,000 watt amplifier. The one below it, the Marts, is a 13,000 watt amplifier. It's twice as much power. And of course we're pulling twice as much power through a smaller potential wire. So that's something to consider. Now if you're saying I would just use wire doublers, well, this is a wire doubler made for alt gauge wire. It has a oversized alt gauge connection on it. It will go in here like this, but it does not fit in the hole. This is too big to fit in the hole. So you would need to use something like a 2 gauge to double alt gauge connector, or maybe a 4 gauge to double alt gauge. I'm not really sure. This is one made by GP with an insulator on it, and it will fit. The block would fit and sit on the ledge. It would be safe, but it's, again, it won't go in the hole. As for the little guy, a 4 gauge will fit in here. So that's an appropriately sized connector, actually more than what it needs. It doesn't really need a 4 gauge. An 8 gauge would be fine for this, for a short run, but a 4 gauge will fit. So the question is, what does that mean for how I feel about this amplifier? Well, number one, I like the amplifier. I think it's a cool amplifier. It's got a lot of cool features. I love the little EQ thing that pops up up here. I love the voltage display on top. I love the clip indicator on top and on the end. So it's got all your lights on the end as well as on the top. It's a really freaking cool amplifier. I've been playing with it for several days. It sounds great. It does a fine job. It's got a high pass filter, a low pass filter, so you can do a band pass, which is great for subwoofers, but the high pass filter even goes up to 20K, or the low pass filter. The bass boost, and it is adjustable if you wanted to use it. Of course, mine's turned all the way down. It's got good, like 4 gauge outputs for the speakers, which is way bigger than what you need. It's got a bass knob. It's a very basic bass knob, but it has one. And yeah, here it is. So just a basic bass knob, no lights on this, just a knob. It's plastic. It has the telephone style cords. It's fine. It does the thing. Nothing to write home about. Of course, on this end, we have what I would consider slightly undersized connections. Are the connections optimal? No. But let's do some figuring. So I'll explain my reasoning behind that, and then we'll continue forward. This is a 13,500 watt amplifier at 1 ohm. That means at 1 ohm, on a static 1 ohm resistive load, we could expect to make somewhere in the neighborhood of 13,500 watts, which would pull, after efficiency losses, probably a bit over 1,000 amps, maybe 1,300 amps. So we'd be asking 2 alt gauge wires, because there's 2 per positive and 2 per negative. We'll be asking 2 alt gauge wires to handle 1,300 amps. That's around 600 amps-ish a piece. 600 to 700 amps a piece. For alt gauge wire, that's awful high, but consider the length. Okay? If you've got your distribution set up close to this amplifier, and you're not running a very long length of that wire, it will handle that much amperage. That's one element to consider. The second one is excuse me. The second element to consider is the fact that we're not going to see that in a car. So at 1 ohm resistive load, we're going to pull that much power, but you're never going to do that in a car. It's not possible, because your speaker is going to cause impedance, which is going to make that resistive load go up. You're going to impede the power, and you could expect to see at least 3 or 4 ohms of impedance. So that number goes from 13.5 to about a quarter of that. And I mean, you're looking at what, 300 or 3,000 to 5,000 watts, you know, in that range. Probably we could go high and say 6,000 watts. And at 6,000 watts, you're looking at 600 amps maximum on a sine wave, which would easily be handled by 2 alt gauge welding wire, true American alt gauge connections. So is it enough? Yes, it is enough to conduct the power. Now, the problem I would have with this setup is just enough. But part of the way these amplifiers cool themselves on the power section end, which is down here, is by conducting heat into the wires to allow the wires coming in to act like a radiator or a heat sink for the amplifier. That's part of how the heat's dissipated on this end of the board. And less material out here means less heat conduction. It's not ideal. But again, will it work? Yes. If I was the engineer, though, if it was me engineering this, I would have wanted to have at least 3. And if you can't do that, at least make it the oversized connection so we can use a larger copper content in the alt gauge car audio style wire, or double alt gauge welding wire, to have a more extra conductivity and also extra material as a heat sink. That's what I would want to see, is just upsizing these and or adding a 3rd set of each. I think at this power level, that would be the appropriate thing to do. Let's have a look at the inside. This is a very, very busy full bridge amplifier. Everything is glued down well. Nothing moves in here. Got tons of cooling for the switches. These capacitors, EXO, branded 150C, 200 volt, 105C rather, 200 volt capacitors. And it looks like, I don't know, the brand looks like EXO. Let me get a closer look here. You guys can have a look at this. I can't see from that angle. Okay, yeah. 105, 200 volt. There's our caps. There's 7 of them. Everything is properly adhered to the board. Now, what I was talking about earlier, let's go look at these caps real quick. Well, you guys can see better than I can. Anyway, what I was talking about earlier is the power supply end, where all the power comes in. And this area, these blocks, are kind of the heat sink for these terminals and this whole end of the board. So whatever's out here is an extension of that heat sink. We do have fans on there. We have no fans on this end. We have outputs on this end, but we have 2 fans down here. They are going into a fan header there, so it's going to be board controlled. I've never heard them turn on, but I haven't put very much power through it. Let's get a closer look at everything here. That looks a bit suspicious. I don't know. It may just be flux on the board, but that looks kind of gunky. I mean, it should look like these, right? Everything is clean over here. A little bit of shmoo right there. There's some down here too. As for these feet, what I'm pretty sure is happening here is the metal chassis goes out and the feet slip over it. So there's a metal chassis in between 2 pieces of plastic here. Okay, as you can see, pulling the cap off, it's pretty basic end on here. It's finished. You could totally use it this way if you wanted to. There's no need to pull these caps off, and the wrenches they include for attaching wiring are not the right size for this. You have to pull your own wrench if you decide you want to remove one of these caps. But they do remove cleanly, so if you wanted to run it this way, you absolutely could if you were challenged for space or whatever. It does use metal feet, and the metal feet actually go inside of a groove here and are separated on either side by a piece of ABS plastic. So that's good. So yeah, we do check the boxes well in most every way. We got good Tiffany style connectors, really nice connections on the ends, a nice set of adjustments that can be made, clean aesthetics, voltmeter on full display on the front of the amplifier, as well as an on and a clip and a protect light, all located on the front as well as on the side. This really cool thing, which flashes to the music, is very neat. I like that. The only downside is these connectors are a bit on the small side. I wish they were bigger.
So the power can move, run underneath in the frame rail groove. I run my wires underneath my beats. Don't need an anaconda under my feet. Drunk thunder, lithium, no retreat. Sending that power to my beat. Yeah, hammer, dropping bass like a hammer. Window bossing, no slammer, slammer like Big John. Bass backbreaker, the Undertaker, subwoofer boom, I'm a whole room shaker. Listen, bleeding through the skin for a crack floor, trap door, waiting on the crack core, slack more flex, or you can use a jack or a ratchet strap, or run it down the drain with drain, old back door, pressure on that dashboard, glass walk, race arc, cone flex, chrome text, phone shake, space dark, wave start, phase mark, brake car, plate spark, air move, hair lift, chest hit, blade sharp, brain roll, brain pour, frame twist, lane swerve, no end, bend time, spine press, nerve curve, no pause, roll through, tone glue, words blur, same thought, it's ready to the whole room learn, I'm a psycho. I'm a psycho. I'm a psycho.
Overall, it's a pretty competent amplifier. Makes a lot of power, has some cool features, and is going to look really nice on the amp rack when we get done with it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to have power distribution right here at the end. So we're sending nice short runs of power into the amplifier. That's how I'm going to sort that. And everything should be good to go. Keep in mind that music is dynamic. It's not a constant sine wave. Even though whenever we're doing bass demos and all the crazy music we're listening to, whenever we're getting really loud, there's still breaks in that sine wave. And also we have the reduction of power coming out because of impedance. So if this amplifier makes half of its power at 4 ohms, that would be amazing. It's not what it's rated to do, but a lot of times that happens.